Hey. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to All Things Pontiac Podcast. Today is going to be very, very, very special. I'm very excited about the day I have. Man, the guest today, I just got to say, I'm just super proud of her. I'm just super proud of what she's doing, what she's been able to do in her hometown, what she's been able to um, transform, if you will. I'm huge in community policing, huge in the community, just public service, and those two things run together. And sometimes people have a context of community policing as if it's just like you just out passing out chips or candy, or you just it's responsive, but it's a little bit more than that because you have to really care about the people, care about the folks that you are servicing, and a lot of times it's the people that they don't get talked about a lot. They're not brought up in the bowels of the conversation. They're always an afterthought if somebody was in the cold and suffered hypothermia, things of that nature. Then it's like, oh, we got to get community policing on it. We got to pay more attention to it. All along, a lot of times we have, dealt with this issue, dealt with the person, then it's sometimes it's some concerns or get stuck in the red tape. But it's those community officers, those folks that really have to deal with that, right? Those public servants. And so we're talking about a person who just loves her community, period. She has a wonderful I'm gonna let her make an announcement. I'm not gonna bring that up. I'm gonna let her make that announcement. So if it's your first time here to All Things Pontiac, I am your host, Gil Garrett. I'm running for mayor here in the city of Pontiac, and I just thought it was a great idea to bring folks from similar communities that have a similar demographic and culture and background, so we can have some conversation. There's some things that I would like to see in our administration that's being done right now in Plainfield, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But if you haven't gotten over to the website, please do so, www.gilgarrettforpontiac.com. That's where you can join the team. You can catch us walking. We had a couple of events. Actually, tonight there is a talent show that as soon as we finish this podcast, I'm heading right over there to see our kids. We have some very talented kids here in Pontiac, so we just thank you for watching. Again, if you don't, www.gilgarrettforpontiac.com. If you haven't had the opportunity to get over there and check it out, our SAFE initiative is by far is what's going to drive us into the next phase of who we are here in Pontiac, Michigan. Safe neighborhoods, accountability, financial stability, and economic growth for all. And safety, adding that T and that Y, T, transparency, and Y is youth empowerment. And so I believe I'm the safest vote. 30 years of public service coupled with education, simultaneously serving in your educational system, in your law enforcement, and your municipality for over 3 decades. Worthy of your vote. You've put me in public office for 5 years, and you've asked me to bring you accountability, and I've done just that. So, but we're not going to waste too much time on that because, again, All Things Pontiac is a space for us to talk about people who have either come in contact with people from Pontiac, Michigan, or they know some people in Pontiac, Michigan, or they've had some kind of contact with us. Serving on a national level, I've come to one specific conclusion is that there are so many people in this country, right? And I've traveled many states you sent me to represent Pontiac. And there's somebody in that state that I've talked to or seen and said, hey, either I got a relative in Pontiac or I have, somebody who I know. And so I appreciate y'all tuning in this evening. And I'll tell you what, we got to pay some bills. Well, not necessarily, because it is friends to elect Gil Garrett. And we'll be right back with our special guest. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, she is no stranger to the spotlight. She is no stranger to the community. Hey, I want y'all to welcome her, Sergeant Keisha Bethea. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing, madam?
I, I am good. Thank you. Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Give it to me. I love it. I love it.
How you doing, madam?
I I'm so good, and I appreciate you for allowing me to come speak on this platform. Of course, all things Pontiac, but I love it most about the fact of the connections and building those bridges, as well as the connections with you from the first time I met you. We just instantly connected when we spoke about the community, and
Hmm.
we share the same passions within the community and want to see the community thrive. So I appreciate you and thank you so much for having me here.
Well, ma'am, listen. Hey, you have put in a lot of work. Your particular office, and I want to make sure I want to make sure I get this right. The Office of Emergency Management is your new position, correct? Or you're
It's an added title.
added responsibility. Let me get that right. More added responsibility. But the Office of Emergency Management, and I am grateful that someone like you is in that particular position. And that is a position that I want to bring on to my administration once the people elect me into office, because we need a person that looks out for the community overall. Can you give us, first of all, just give us a little bit about yourself, and then what is this new added responsibility?
Well, once again, you introduced me. I'm Keisha Bethea. I'm Keisha Bethea first.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a
Okay.
sergeant in Plainfield. I've been in police officer for 24 years. I can retire next year.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Hold
it
on. Hold
is,
on. Let's give
yes.
it up for that.
Look,
That
you
retirement
know,
means so.
that's,
Hold
listen,
on.
yes. And you know
Right.
what? And I always tell people, I'm not the uniform. I am who I am, because in order for us to do these jobs, we have to have
Unknown
compassion.
call.
We have to have empathy. So I think you have a call coming in.
Yeah, I do. Okay. Hold. I think they hold on one second. Hold
Let
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
me see.
All right. Hold. Hey, caller. Hold on one second. Okay. Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
Hel- Hello, caller. They hung up real quick. I know it was a
They
302
hung
area
up.
code. I don't know what that.
Uh,
But
I
go
think
ahead.
that
I'm
might have
sorry.
been Delaware.
Okay.
But in order to do the jobs that we do every day, we have to have that compassion and empathy. And that's what it starts with. And you want to build those bridges with the community. And when I took on this job, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's all about serving the community. And I think sometimes people tend to forget that it has to be within you to really want to be in the community and do the work and want to implement change. And so this is why I'm here. Like I said, 24 years, I could retire next year. It's so funny because it's a bittersweet moment to know that you could retire next year.
Man, ain't
And
it?
even with yes, and even with the new title of emergency management coordinator, it's something that I'm excited about. Prior to becoming the coordinator, I was a deputy and I was under the
Mm.
direction of Director Childress, which under his leadership, he's a really great guy and just showing me the way of, just preparing the city. So I'm really excited about bringing that to the community, not only about natural disasters. We're coming up to hurricane season.
Mm,
Just it's all about preparedness for the community. So
okay. So you mentioned
I'm excited
hurricane
about that.
because I don't think people they Plainsfield is New Jersey, so it's that East Coast. So they not they thinking like
Oh no,
tell them a little
no.
bit about where you from.
So where I'm from is Plainfield
They
is
got
in
hurt. You
is
heard
central,
hurricane
it's
season in New Jersey.
central, listen, central New Jersey. But people
Yes.
need to understand the way the weather is up and down. 1 minute is hot, it's cold. We're experiencing all of that. And hurricanes is definitely something to prepare for. Even if you never even had a hurricane, we should prepare for that. It's just like last year, we experienced having an earthquake here. And everyone was like, wait a minute, we had an earthquake here right in New
Mhm.
Jersey,
Mhm.
right here in Plainfield, and even having an aftershock. So this is all about preparedness, understanding how to put together to go bag, or meeting up and having a meet up location with your family. So we have to prepare, because if you don't prepare, you wouldn't know what to do in case of an emergency. So like I said, hurricane season, we already in that now. Maybe about a few years ago, we had Hurricane Ida here in the city of Plainfield. I mean, Hurricane Ida hit everywhere, but I know in the city of Plainfield, we experienced a lot of flooding. And, it's just, for me, is making sure that we're prepared just in case something like that happen in our community.
How important is it for you to have a direct contact with the mayor and um, the directors in the municipality? How important is that for you? How does that help shape what you're doing in this new role?
It's very important to have connections and be able to communicate with all directors, every platform. And like I said, it's just building that communication, which we have that great here in the city of Plainfield. And as I said it before, and I can always say it, that I truly love the mayor here, his integrity and everything that he stands for. So I appreciate his leadership. So, but like I said, it's important. I think a lot of times, it might be in other places, but it's not
Mhm.
here. Just lacking communication. But I
Mhm.
appreciate that we all could come together here just for the better of the community.
Awesome. We had a chance to talk a little bit online, and I wanted to get a little bit into this. Um, you said evacuation plans for the hospitals in your particular area and business areas. How does that help during a time of like, let's just use for an example, hurricane? Hopefully, we never have to use the emergency plan, but how important is that to the city overall to know the emergency plan for every major institution in your city?
That's very vital. You have to have an emergency evacuation plan, so you know exactly what to do. I mean, we spoke about, like you said, we spoke about this earlier, and then just having a driver in that seat that is going to train and implement those trainings and the knowledge. You have to know what to do. I mean, you already know, Gil, and being in law enforcement, we have to qualify with our weapons and things to that nature. And if we didn't do those things, we wouldn't know how to prepare in high stressful situations. So, and it's the same way with emergency evacuation plans. You have to know exactly what to do just in case those things happen. It's muscle memory. So even though you may not go through it at that moment, but if you happen to go through an emergency,
Mhm.
you it will always kick back in the back of your mind exactly what to do.
And I think for me is the importance of it is when you serve in communities that may not always look to be look to be in these spaces, right? Like we don't even think about a lot of times. I don't like to use the word underserved, but since that's the seem like that's the go to, and we are underserved in a lot of cases, we are pushed last when it comes down to when you have a high low income area. We're looked upon as if we don't find emergency preparedness important, but we do, right? And even though we may know how to survive in it, and we are resilient people overall, it is important that we have someone like yourself and a team that can coordinate those emergencies, because when you look at what happened in Hurricane Katrina, right? I'm just going to use Louisiana. When the levees broke and things that happened down there, how far and then how long it took them to get the resources that they needed, right? Because there was not an emergency plan put in place. Who do you call if this happens and things of that nature? So that's why I definitely want to add this position, because we don't have it here in the city
Mhm.
in Pontiac. We don't have that particular space to operate in, or folks know that we, pardon me, or folks know that we find it to be important. Period. You find it to be important, and so if you had to, let's just say, um, who would you reach out to first? Like when you're doing the plan for the municipality, is it the mayor's office you first coordinate with, or is the police office? Because see, you like a Swiss Army knife. You work in the schools, you in law enforcement, you work in the municipalities. And when I say it was honest to goodness, when I said that, and folks thought that I was the first one to do that, right? I'm like, you don't understand. There are a multitude of talented people out here who have worked in education, who work as a law enforcement, and who work in the municipality. This is not strange. Gil Garrett is not on the island by himself. That's why I'm so glad Mrs. Bethea is here to say, how do you navigate all three of those environments?
Prayer. When we spoke earlier, you can't be a leader without faith, and you have to have faith because you already know, I'm so sorry to say this, but new levels, new devils.
Yeah,
So,
no, 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 no. We all
it's
about
just,
faith. It's non-negotiable.
yeah,
Faith is not. We talked about this. Like my
faith,
faith in who I am is non-negotiable, right? And this is a free
you
space,
know,
right?
yes, it's all
Yeah.
about faith because I couldn't be who I am and do the things that I do and wear the many hats. You already know, having my own business, teaching a 911 program,
Mm-hmm.
down to being a sergeant in community policing, and then this role of, emergency management with at the end of the day, I couldn't do this without a team. And, I still have a team. I still have the support of my administration. So when you're talking about emergency operation plans, you know, someone might reach out to you from a nursing home. I mean, it happened already, or a dialysis center that wants you to look over, their emergency operation plan because every institution should actually have a plan. And maybe that's something, even in your community,
Mm-hmm.
just take baby steps. Because, I always say we have to take things back to basics, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have to we don't want to always reinvent the wheel,
For sure.
but at the end of the day, we have to take it back to basics. A lot of times people think, not in my community. No, this is not going to happen. No, this earthquake is not going to happen. This hurricane is not going to happen. Or better yet, let's talk about New Orleans when we had that individual ride through a crowd of people, right?
Yes.
No
Yep.
one thinks about those things when it
Mm-hmm.
happens, and it's unfortunate, but what can we put in place prior to those things is preparedness. So no one says, oh, I was never prepared. Oh, I don't know where to go when it's time to evacuate, or I didn't know what happened with this earthquake. I don't know what's going to happen when the power outage happens. But it all starts with baby steps. Even
Mm-hmm.
being, like I said, in this new role, I can still go back to, you know, the Director Childress, and have those conversations, or my Director Abney, and also, our mayor, the administration. So you can always have those conversations. And I'm still in the infant stages of this. So I'm still learning, but I know what direction I want to take it. And I know the way I want to serve my community because I want to make sure that, I
Mm-hmm.
have children here. So, and grandchildren, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they're prepared as well.
Man, that is a man. Man, listen. I try to give I really try to give folks to understand again, if we all use our talents the way that we need to use them, and to the glory of God, and understand, be humble enough to say that we have to stick through it. Like sometimes people have to have some consistency to work in those spaces, because it's not like you just have one silo that you're working in, because a lot of times the municipality don't necessarily talk with the school district. School districts don't necessarily talk to law enforcement unless you have a school resource officer. So like, let's talk about, as a female operating in those different spaces, what are the challenges, or let's talk about this, what are successes that you have, right, like with the students that you've graduated with, right? Like, you see they've graduated out of high school, but now they're, living their life, things of that nature. What have you had returning students come back to you? You like, what
Oh
what
my
what is that
gosh.
like?
Listen, you're gonna make
What is
me
that like?
cry. So
Don't
let
I'm
me tell
because I
you.
just listen. You
You're
don't
gonna
understand.
make me cry. Let me
Keish,
tell you, my
listen.
hormones already all over the place.
I just
So,
I need people to see you.
oh
Like, I
my
need them to see
gosh.
you
Listen,
like
if they
this is
don't see me,
real.
God see me. You see
Yes.
me, but all the people around me and
Yeah.
in the little circle I have, they see me. So the funny part is yesterday, I noticed someone tagged me in a post, and it was one of my students, right?
Mhm.
Because this is my company, right?
Mhm.
Frontline Safety Consultants, and which I am contracted by the Board of Education. And I
Mhm.
just started last year where I'm running a 911 program. And when I met you, I told you I started running this, and I had the
Yeah.
opportunity. And thank I thank thank God that I had the opportunity. But however, this one student, I can never get her name right, but her name is Jonina Riley.
Mhm.
And from the moment I met her, I saw myself in her, right? And I can identify that whenever you're working two jobs and you're young like that, that I want to do something to help you. And I need you to stay a course when it comes to this 911 program. And
Mhm.
she's a bright student. She's a beautiful young lady. So she tagged me in the post and said, "Thank you. Thank you for pushing me. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for showing me and keeping me a course in this 911 program." And she posted a video of her in tears that she was so happy that she received three certification, which was 911, emergency medical dispatch, and CPR. And in my program,
Yeah.
I took the class to a communication center, our county communication center, and they were able to see exactly what you do in a communication center. And I have a great relationship with Garrett there.
Mhm.
He's a director at the communication center, and he said, "Please send your kids my way, send your students." And immediately when she graduated, the day she before she graduated, she already had an appointment to set up to go sit down in the communication center. And right now she's in the process of getting hired there at the communication center. And this is just in a matter of like 2 weeks.
Man, shout out to her, man. Shout out to her.
Yes,
Man,
yes.
listen, you
Look at me with a little tear over here. Look, look.
man, because you did listen. If we don't expose them to things that they don't even think that they could do, then how will they know that they can't do them? Right? They already
Exactly.
feel Our students already feel like, okay, people are not listening to them. And sometimes it's hard for them to really try new things, because it's like it's intimidating at point. But when you to be able to offer what you're offering, right? Like, to as an enrichment program, but then also as a career, because you know it. And um we talked about this, and we're gonna take a break and then come back. We'll talk a little bit about integrity and leadership, because that's typically where we want to go, because students, people remember how you treat them. They don't really necessarily remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel.
Yes.
And
And you have
so,
to love on them.
yeah, you have to love on them. And then I want to talk a little bit more about what do you do, as a professional, to pour back into yourself, so you're able to give out more. Like, mental health is very important, and a lot of times we overextend ourselves, and then we find ourselves in this sticky space. So we'll be right back with Miss Khisha Bethea, from Plainfield, New Jersey, and I'm telling y'all, I don't know. We'll make sure y'all get her contact information so she could just put y'all on game too. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
All right.
Man, appreciate y'all, man. That was real quick, little 5 seconds. Friends to Elect Gil Garrett. This is sponsored by Friends to Elect Gil Garrett. So we got to make sure that we take care of what we need to take care of with them. So before we took that 5-10 second break, we were on to have the conversation. What do you do to replenish yourself so you're able to be at your fullness?
Man, it's so hard to say. And, it's funny because I don't know how, but I know how I do what I do
Hmm.
because I just started mentoring a young lady. She asked me to be her mentor. And I talk to her all the time about making sure that the first thing that we do in the morning is give thanks, right?
Hmm.
And make sure that whatever scriptures you need to read and affirmations that we need to say to ourselves. But for me, for the most part, just to unwind is just coming home and being at peace and just relaxing my mind for just a moment and doing
Hmm.
whatever I want to do. At one point, I started working out. Lord have mercy, I don't know what happened, but I need to still keep that flow, keep that going on. But for the most
Gotcha.
part, for me, it's just enjoying the time. I have grandchildren and just enjoying that time with my grandchildren and that's pretty much it. I don't really and when I have that time to even enjoy just a quick dinner with friends, but for the most part, Gil, to be honest, I pour a lot into the community, and there's a lot of free time that I pour into the community. As you can see, Gil, I know you saw my videos with sitting
Hmm.
down with cooling centers. That is my high. That is my high. That is my time when I feel good that I'm making a difference and I'm not here by accident. I'm here for a reason. And that is what gets me going all the time. So,
Man,
but
that's what's
I
up.
have to listen, but that is my time. Like I said, is to sit back and unwind. And just like when we get off from here, I'm going to sit back and, and relax.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow I have a day off, which is really not it's a day off, but to sit back to do what I want to do.
Awesome. Awesome. When you talked about your team, and I know I got to get you back on for a part two. So if we could just make that commitment,
Please
where
do.
I can
We
get you
got to
back
get
on,
back
because
on
there's
for
so
part
much.
two.
Because if people can clearly understand that they could do what we do is because we're called to do it, and we don't want to miss our assignment, and we're committed to it. Is that it, and it takes time, and right, and it's not something that's been done overnight. Like you said, you eligible for retirement next year, right? I
Yes.
retired one from a local police department, and now I'm eligible to retire from my county. Once the
Mhm.
people elect me to mayor, I'll retire full time and then spend full time mayor. But what
Yes.
the wonderful thing about all of those other two things between the municipality and law enforcement, education is there, right? So now
Yes.
is you get to stay in that space and making sure that our kids get what they need, and our educational community benefits from everything that they're giving us. So you say
Mhm.
your volunteers, you have volunteers with your CERT team. Talk a little about compassion for action. You want to do it's what you started something different, and since we committed for you to come back, then we'll get into it. But tell them a little bit about compassion for action and action.
Well, that was one thing earlier we talked about, and that's something that hopefully I'll be able to really implement. But that
Gotcha.
compassion for action, and as long as I have my CERT team, which is the community emergency response team,
Hmm.
we go out in the
And they're
community and
volunteers, right?
and they're
Y'all
volunteers.
heard that,
They're
Pontiac?
volunteers.
They volunteers,
They're
Pontiac.
volunteers.
Plainsfield, New Jersey.
they
And listen, we can take a trip there, y'all. We could take a trip there and
come on,
watch her in
come on, come
action.
on.
So we can, I believe in watching that in action, and so we can
Listen,
see.
and
But they're volunteers. They care about their
they're not
community.
voluntold. They are volunteers and they want to be in the space. And it's not about, when it comes to leadership, it's not what you could do for me, it's about what I could do for you.
Hmm.
And because I am that leader, they want to be in that space. Like I said, last week the temperatures were touching 100 and
Yeah,
they were outside with me. We were outside under two coolant fans, right?
I
And
saw
they
that. Yeah.
volunteered. Yes, and but wait a minute. The funny part about all of this, even one of our directors, Director Childress, he sat there the first day with me, and
Hmm.
when I had to leave and go handle some things, we still we gave out ices. We shaved ices for the community, and we gave out approximately 200 ices and probably
Hmm.
about 600 bottles of 700 bottles of water during that week. But they sat out there with me all day from 10 to 6 o'clock in the evening, just servicing the community. So that
That is
compassion
awesome,
for
man.
action is really deserving. And I'm saying volunteers that are almost 70 years old.
Oh man, congratulations, folks. Them people,
Yes.
man, and you said they was ready.
They were ready. They were calling me. What time we need to get out there? What time? And even when on Tuesday my grandson graduated from
Hmm.
high school, I said, "Listen,
Congratulations.
guys, thank you that I have to." And you know the funny part, this is how committed I am. After my grandson's graduation, my son said, "Ma, come on, we're not gonna go out to eat." I said, "I have to get out here in the community. I cannot leave my CERT team out here.
Hmm.
So we could always go out and eat, but I have to go back out here to service the community." And I came home, changed real quick, just to sit out there until about 6 o'clock. So I'm committed to my community.
Awesome.
You put out what you get back.
For sure. Man, say that one more time.
Yes, what you put out is what you get back. So when you put out positivity, that positive always come back. So it's a blessing in serving, and people need to know that.
Man, that's a perfect way to segue into this before we can get up out of here. If it's anything that you can leave, I'm gonna give you the screen. If it's anything that you can leave, that somebody who's listening to this, that's from Pontiac, that's then heard what your story. She's committed to coming back, and so we'll have her on again. What would you tell them if they wanted to start serving the community right now? What would you tell them?
Well, one thing, if they want to start serving the community, they need to vote for you, right?
I take
So
that.
wait.
We take that, yeah, for sure,
Les,
for sure.
because when I see you, it's a lot of me and you, and we
Mhm.
like to service the community, and
For
we
sure.
want to make a difference. We want to make a change. So just to it's important just to start somewhere. Don't wait to say, I cannot do this without a team. If you just get out there and just plant that seed is going to grow. And you have to know that you can make a difference in the community just by just small baby steps. It can't happen overnight, like you said earlier. But however, you have to start somewhere. You can't say, "Well, I'm going to do this next week." You have to start somewhere. So if you say to yourself, I always wanted to give out some start these like little packages for the homelessness or
Mhm.
unhoused individuals, then you know start somewhere. Just start somewhere. It's baby steps that it's baby steps, whatever we have to do in life. You just have to take the time to do it.
Hey, well, y'all heard it here first, man. Hey, Keisha, I appreciate you, Sergeant Bethea. Listen, thank you so much for being a part of all things Pontiac. You listen, tune in. You can watch this live on the Facebook page, and we're over at Mr. Trusted Process. Thank you so much for joining us.
Um,
We'll let you get back to your day. Hopefully, you get some rest. Those who are in the area of Pontiac, those who in Plainfield, who's watching this, thank y'all so much. Y'all got an awesome superstar. Now, y'all better take care of her now. You know, there's a lot of municipalities out here trying to hire. You know what I'm saying? That it's hard to find some good help. I'm putting you on notice right now, Plainfield. Pontiac, I'm putting you on notice right now because Pontiac, we have some amazing people who do some amazing things here in Pontiac, Michigan, and they really have the heart of the community, and that's why I'm running for mayor, to represent them. And you know how I feel when I'm representing Pontiac outside of Michigan, right? I'm all Pontiac all day, right? So, but I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you so much. Let me give you another round of applause for being here.
and I appreciate you. I appreciate you as well. So, and all the work that you do. Just
Awesome.
know that it doesn't go unnoticed. I see you every moment, every time you're posting. I see what you do for your community. So God is definitely gonna bless you, and we'll be celebrating you in August.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. All right, y'all. Listen, we out of here. We appreciate y'all. I thank y'all so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to what we're doing and what we have going on here in the city of Pontiac. If you haven't had a chance to tap into everything that we have going on, there is safer neighborhoods, accountability to the people, financial stability, economic growth for all, and safety, transparency, and that Y of youth engagement. Listen, we're going to do it, Pontiac, August 5th. We're in the primaries. You can vote early. Go to the clerk's office. Get your absentee ballots out. Listen, we have to do this together. You voted for me. You understand I'm the safest vote. I'm the only candidate that's able to bring us to that next level, trustworthy, integrity. And we'll talk about part 2, integrity and leadership, when we bring Ms. Bethea back. But God bless you. Good night, man. I appreciate
Thank you.
y'all. And y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Good night.